I would like to thank William for the introduction. I also would like to thank Mr. Contractor, Mr. Saxena, for this invite, for this opportunity for us to be a part of this conclave. If I look upon the very interesting topic or subject of this discussion, I would be talking about a particular part of it, which is basically capacity building, since I come from a training background. What exactly is capacity building? Is it just training? To my mind, it is much more than this. It includes human resource development. It includes the process to equip individuals with skills and understanding. It opens out access to information, and then comes the knowledge and training part, which enables people to perform more effectively. So this is the way capacity building basically comes to me. Some brief advantages of capacity building, since this topic is so important. First is assessing the capacity needs across a particular defined ecosystem, what exactly the gaps are, and how best those gaps can be addressed. Next is that it builds up immense amount of confidence and mass sensitization and awareness. If I talk about a particular scheme, what exactly its features are, what exactly the process and systems are, and what are the different ways in which it can be deployed. So it's not only a classroom where it can be done, there are different ways which I would basically touch upon. Next is it builds up a strong partnership amongst the multiple stakeholders across levels. So if I talk about the finance ministry itself, it will have different levels. There would be a regulatory body, there would be banks, there would be post offices, there would be LIC. So having all of them integrated to make it happen, I think that's a big advantage. It encourages the sharing of information, which gets generated from time to time, builds up enough amount of clarity about the processes, and leads to adherence of the process and systems. While all this is happening, it also enhances the skills to implement agencies to cope up with unknown issues or problems which may in fact come up while this entire process of implementation is happening. Some brief challenges which should be kept in mind while one is talking about this subject. First, which is the most important, is focus and the commitment to make the mass capacity building across the ecosystem a success. This has to happen from the topmost authorities. Their formal communication, video conferencing across the various stakeholders. If I talk about the periodic reviews, they're happening on a weekly or basically a monthly basis to ensure that the system is moving on the way it has been planned. Next, I come to mobilization and sensitization of the large population. So when I talk about mobilization, I refer to the various people who need to undergo this program. They're being freed by the various departments. And in this, if I talk about the training partner, they would be involved. If I talk about the regulatory body, they also would be involved. They'll be in touch with the deputing officer or the deputing body to free their team members so that they undergo this particular process. Next is the multiple stakeholders and of course their level of involvement. So when one talks about a mass amount of capacity building, you'll appreciate that there are multiple stakeholders. So keeping them engaged, involved, this can be a challenge at times. Impact measurement is something which comes in very handy, but this is one area where it does take a significant amount of time before one actually can measure things. That is it moving the right direction? What kind of changes need to be incorporated? So one has to be patient towards this. Next, I come to quality assurance, which leads to standardization of the training module. What we find usually is that the content keeps changing, the content keeps evolving. So it's always good to do a pilot, have the content right, and then just have it rolled out amongst the masses. And the last challenge which I could think of was reaching out to remote locations and at times, yes, small batch sizes. So these are a few of the solutions which I already have summarized actually while I was talking about the challenges. Next, I'll talk about a case study. So we as a training partner have been privileged to be a training partner of PFRDA, where since last few months, we've been engaged in the capacity building for the Atal Pension Yojana. So some of our experience, and data I would like to show before you. What I like to appreciate is that it was a very clear-cut message about capacity building which came to us on APVI from PFRDA. First was, we need to reach across all states and the UTs in the country. The next was that we need to reach across to more than 1.5 lakh bank branches, which includes the PSU banks, the commercial banks, the cooperatives, and the RRBs. Again, a very clear mandate, conduct of 1800 plus batches, of which 1479 batches to be done by Centum. And Centum has done this in north, east, and west part of India. And a very time-bound and focused approach defined by PFRDA. Again, if I talk about the objectives and vision for this capacity building of APVI, very clear from their side. Building confidence and creating mass awareness on APVI, and thereby ensuring smooth implementation of the Atal Pension Yojana. So having been a part of this as a team from our side, we deployed different approaches to build up capacity. So one was we went through the routine classroom programs for the bank officials and its staff. I'll say a great success. To do more numbers, town hall meetings were done, which included the subscribers, bank, LIC officials, as well as their staff. Third was again something very interesting to reach across to still more masses. There was use of satellite communication, SATCOM. And this was done twice, and at this one go, one could approach 245 number of talukas, and this led to engagement of more than 2 lakh, in fact, subscribers, as well as the government officials and staff. After this, it got extended to Department of Post for their officials and staff, and this is now being rolled out to all the CBS-enabled post offices and sub-post offices. Sure. So as of 31st of Jan, which just got over, if I talk about the data, 28 states, including the union territories, have been covered at a very fast pace, which implies that 401 number of locations have been used to do this activity. In fact, through this, if I talk about PFRDA, it has reached out to more than 3,09,506 number of subscribers, as well as the government officials and staff by means of SATCOM in the state of Gujarat. And there has been a participation of 63,550 number of bank, as well as the Department of Post officials and staff. So far, 1,300 number of batches have been done. And as I stand here, I'm sure more number of batches would have happened. So once it is well planned, and once the various stakeholders are, are well aligned, I think it can just roll out very fast. So with this, I would like to thank you all. Thank you.